systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station, back with another NHL Quick Hit. We got a massive slate here on tap tonight. Should be a good one. A couple teams on back-to-backs. Other teams obviously not on back-to-backs, coming off 4 games last night here. Jumping into tonight. 11 games on the docket. Still decent prize pools up top for all different bankrolls, all different entry fees, even with NFL and playoff baseball going on. DraftKings has definitely stepped up their NHL contest throughout the course of the year. Big shout out to my guy, Hebrew Cheetah, Rio, jumping in, using my content, using our matchup sheet, the stone that I'm going to show off here in a little bit to hop in there Tuesday. Nothing else really going on. Shipped himself a nice $100K in the $360 contest there. Man, what a sweat it was. I was up sweating with him. We were texting back and forth going on there, and our guy Konechny, never a doubt, got there with his with the shot bonus to jump him back into first place. Was up there pretty much throughout the entire night, and it was due to Florida 2, right? Everybody was on the Columbus side. I said jump to the other side. I really like Florida 2, and they got the job done. And then our late night Philly Hammers brought it all home. So congratulations to him. Absolutely incredible run. He is going to be heading up our NBA content. And if you are not a member yet, hey, no better time to join than now at the Nation. NBA 15, get you 15% off any membership plan. $85 a month when you use the promo code for all of our sports access with Shiptimizer or in-house optimizer. So all in rate, $85. No better rate in the industry. And yeah, nothing more to say on that. The screenshots and winners speak for themselves. We got education courses as well. And if you're not a member and you don't want to sign up, or you're kind of waiting a little bit, just feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button right here, or go to shipitnation.com. Toss in your email. We actually have an email education course out there as well to help you pick up a little tidbits in terms of NFL DFS and just DFS overall in general. But without further ado, let's jump in. We got 11 games to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. As you can see up on the top, let me swap this over, and boom. We got the NHL Stone up here on the sheet. But first, I'm going to actually go ahead and share our matchup sheet because, again, this is a tool that I created a couple years back and have always used for myself. But basically, what does this do, and how does this help you in NHL DFS? If you're out there new, just tuning in because you saw some screenshots, or hey, you want to jump in and play additional sports and test it out. Very similar to MLB DFS, obviously, in terms of how you build for NHL DFS, like I talked about last breakdown or last show here on Tuesday. But the matchup sheet basically takes all the team metrics that you need, and then you can jump over to the Stone and break that down into player stacks basis for building lineups. But as you can see, it's got the money line information here, the totals, the individual team totals, and then their stats, usually for the home and road splits that they're on. But since we have very limited sample size of this year's data, this is combined. So obviously you can see their games played here in the second column. So some teams obviously have 3 games, 2 games under their belt. Some teams have 6, like the Devils do so far this early in the season. But these metrics talk about goals for, goals against, what their actual numbers look like, what their expected goals for and goals against look like throughout the year. Same thing for shots, their power play information, and then high danger chances and the power play opportunities. So you can really take a look here. And just looking at the first night, right? Obviously, the Kings are on a back-to-back here. Got pretty embarrassed last night against Toronto, but you can see Montreal Canadiens, I think people are going to jump on Montembeault in that for a good reason. He's cheap, and Kings on a back-to-back. He is at home as well, but, I mean, I think the Canadiens are playing a little over their head throughout the course of the 4 games, and you can see give up the second most high danger chances against. They're allowing a ton of shots against. That's obviously why the goalie's been so good in terms of saves. And their expected goals numbers is up towards the top of the charts, actually the worst in the NHL there. So that's kind of how you can break this down, but we have it for every game on the slate. Every slate, the numbers will only get better as we have a bigger sample size, but did really want to showcase that overall and take it into breaking them down now, how you can use the stone and jump in here. So again, going right back to that first game, we have the Kings, we have the Canadians. I like the Kings here in this spot. Again, I think it's a flop leg spot. They got embarrassed last night. Toronto's a very good hockey team, and especially on home ice, right, with Matthews and company there. So I really like the Kings coming in here. I think Montreal picks up some ownership just due to their prices, but more importantly, Montembeault, I think this is a scenario where you can play him, but you can also play Kings offense in other teams or vice versa here. For me, my interest is definitely on the Kings side here. I like Kopitar, I like Kemp, I like Alex Lafreniere. Really like that stack. Even going to the second stack with the Trevor Moore, played those guys, and Tanner Jeannot, played those guys quite a bit. They're super cheap overall. You get some power play correlation there, right, as well. You can add in a Quentin Byfield. But overall, I think the Kings kind of come into Montreal, handle this team. I think Montreal is playing a little over their head right now, so I really like the Kings side in this spot. And then obviously Brant Clark is one of the best value D-men plays on the slate, getting top line, top power play work there. So 3,400, he's a great option. Flipping to the Montreal side, Cole Caulfield's in play anytime he's on a slate. Coming off a stinker last game, but he is on home ice, so I don't mind him. I don't mind Slavkowski or Suzuki. That top line, Montreal is pretty solid overall, so I don't mind that. Kirby Dach, I think, is a solid value play overall at 3.9K, getting top power play work. But again, Kings are overall a pretty tough team. I like them more at home ice, but for a road spot, I think this is a pretty good matchup, and I think they bounce back after kind of getting punched in the mouth last night by Toronto. So give me the Kings in that game, but I think there's some plays on both sides for DFS purposes. Jumping to the next game, this is one of my favorite teams in DFS here to target tonight. I don't like the Senators. I don't think Forsberg's a great goalie by any means. And I absolutely love the Devils here. I think Devils win this game outright. I love the Devils in this spot. Jack Hughes, his price keeps going down, but he finally got the monkey off his back last game and got to go. I really like Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Timo Meier, fully correlated top line. It's not super expensive with Jack Hughes back under 9K now. Jesper Bratt at 6,200 and Timo Meier at 5.8K. Overall, I really like the spot for the Devils. Really love the power play matchup that they see here tonight. Senators have the fourth worst penalty kill in the NHL through 4 games, or three games, excuse me. So really targeting Devils power play. Add in Dougie Hamilton, 6.1K if you want to spend up for a D-man. And you can even play Jack and Nico Hischier together. But I really like line 1 and Dougie here overall in this spot. Senator spot, really not getting to anyone. Thomas Chabot, I think, is a decent play. Jake Sanderson. But overall, really not going to get to anyone on Ottawa. I like Jersey in this spot for sure. Jump to the next game here. I think this game is kind of a slog here. Tampa's very tough on home ice here for DFS purposes. Really don't like either of these teams. I mean, they're the best and the fourth best team in the entire NHL over four games for shots allowed on net. So you're really kind of striking lightning in a bottle, if you will, here. But in terms of DFS, I mean, you got some great players here overall. The salaries are just up on them. Braden Point, Jack Eichel, Kucherov, Gunsel. I mean, that Tampa line 1 is going to be a wagon all season. But again, Vegas is a solid hockey team. Aiden Hill's a good goalie. Vasilevsky's a great goalie. He's one of my favorite plays here tonight in terms of a goalie standpoint is Andre Vasilevsky here, 7.8K. Love him. Love Tampa to win. So everything kind of points to them. So for DFS purposes, not really going to the skaters individually. Outside of some value plays, Darren Radish is still a solid value at 3K, getting top power play time there. I mean, outside of that, Victor Olofsson, if he does play, but I believe he is going to sit here tonight. So Darren Radish and Vasilevsky pretty much for me in this game. Not going to get to really anyone else in terms of DFS. Jumping to the next game here, Vancouver and Florida. Another game that I don't have a ton of interest in outside of Kevin Lankinen as a punt goalie, 7.1K. If you're looking for a spend down option, I think he has upside here. Florida's dealing with a lot of injuries, but with the injuries brings guys that are thrusted into higher roles, higher ice time overall, and cheaper prices. Anton Lundell, Sam Reinhart, E2 Luosterainen, going right back to the well. Really like that line stack. Doesn't break the bank at all. They're playing great right now. Sam Reinhart is playing out of this world right now, 8.2K. That price point is warranted, but you get two cheap line mates, right, with Anton Lundell, E2 Luosterainen. Might be a little biased. I placed top 10 in the flagship contest on Tuesday as well. And I know my guy Rio used my secondary core there to build his 100K shipper and had that line stack there. So I like going right back to the well with those guys. They're cheap. Jumping up to Sammy Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe, I think are fine. But if I'm going to that, I want to save some salary here in this spot. So I think the Panthers are a decent play, decent target for GPPs due to their prices. They're still a great hockey team, obviously reigning Stanley Cup champions here. And I don't think Vancouver's a great team by any means. But overall, it's more goalies in this game for me, and the value plays from the Panthers side personally. Jump to the next game here. Caps, I don't think are very good. Caps are at home. Dallas coming in. Dallas looks like an absolute phenom, absolute wagon. They just look insane. Right back to Wyatt Johnston, incredible hockey player, super young stud. Robo and Rupi Hintz. Rupi Hintz at 5.4K is kind of ridiculous. I mean, we were paying 7K for this guy last year, and now he's 5,400 here in a solid spot against the Caps. Caps are playing good. I will give them some credits. Tuesday, they scored some goals and played a good game over there. Charlie Lindgren, I think, is an all right goalie play if you're looking for a punt at 7.3K, but I think I'd just rather get to Kevin Lankinen or Sam Montembeault if I'm going down that low against other spots that I like more than targeting this Dallas Stars team here, who, like I said, look like a wagon this year. So for me, it's Dallas line one if I'm going to them. I don't mind the Duchesne Marchment line and Dadonov. They're super cheap, but if I'm going to the Stars, I just don't think ownership's going to be there at all. Again, ownership doesn't matter on an 11-game slate, especially in the NHL DFS. It would just be the big dogs for me from Dallas side. Thomas Harley is a certified stud as well from the D-Man, 4,600, good price. Miro Heiskanen is that top power play quarterback. Basically, he's running point on that top power play. Don't hate him. But again, a game from overall DFS aspect, I think the Stars are interesting, but still not one of my favorite target spots on the slate by any means. Jumping to the next game here, Sabres coming in on a back-to-back, and I think this is actually a pretty good spot here. I really like Tage Thompson. He's 6,700, still super cheap for his upside and his talent. He got a goal scored last night, and now he gets a great matchup here against the Blue Jackets, who are super leaky in terms of defense. They do have a lot of good value plays. So from an overall GPP standpoint, I think this is a good spot in target to target for tournaments for secondary and filler stacks, because especially on the Blue Jacket side, Sabres aren't insane by any means. Again, they are on a back-to-back. Devon Levy or Levi should be going in net, obviously, because UPL went last night for the Sabres. Usually goalies don't go back-to-back. So I think this is a good spot in terms of tournaments. Blue Jackets are super cheap. Sean Monahan, still way too cheap at 4,500. Chinikov, same thing, 4,400. Kent Johnson, still way too cheap for his upside and his ice time that he's playing and his involvement when he's out there. Still getting top power play time. Kirill Marchenko. Columbus line one, super cheap. I expect them to be pretty popular in terms of fillers, but again, ownership won't matter too much. And I think they can get up. But again, my interest is going to be right here in the same spot, right back on the Buffalo side. Tage Thompson, love him a ton. Alex Tuch, love him a ton. And JJ Peterka, who is coming off two goals that I don't love a ton. But again, that line is rolling. Columbus doesn't play much defense overall. And I think the ownership is going to go to this game a little bit here. But again, I think it's a good spot in tournaments. I like really both sides of this game. Dylan Cousins line, I think, is the pivot in tournaments. I'm going Dylan Cousins, Jack Quinn, Zach Benson. Super cheap, doesn't break the bank at all. They correlate together on full strength, and then obviously you got a 2-man power play 2-stack as well there. So tournaments, I think this is a good target spot, and again, I think the salaries make it pretty nice. Jump into the next game here. We have the Rangers. We have the Detroit Red Wings. Cam Talbot looks to be in that here. I think this is a great spot here for the Rangers. Rangers probably my favorite team in terms of tournaments. They lead the league in goals per game throughout their 4 games that they played, or 3 games that they played so far in the season. Just scoring a ton on offense. They look amazing. And that's with Mika Zibanejad still not even up to where I think he can be. And same thing, expected goal numbers point to them. This is my favorite sack in tournaments is going to be right here, the Rangers. Love going back to the well with Mika. I think he's underpriced. I think more people go to Vincent Trocheck and Panarin for good reason. That line's been playing out of their minds. So if you want the chalkier option, I think Trocheck, Panarin, and Lafreniere is the line that more people go to because of, again, how they've been playing as of late. I like flipping it, going to Zibanejad. Chris Kreider, who is questionable, got to keep an eye on that. But if he plays, I love Zibanejad, I love Chris Kreider, and then Riley Smith at 3.4K. Really love that line stack. You can throw in a Panarin because they correlate together on the power play as well, and do like a 3-wing and 1 center stack instead of adding in Adam Fox. I think is an interesting way. You use 3 center spots from the same, or 3 wing spots, from the same spot. That's just a unique roster construction as well. So love the Rangers here overall. Keandre Miller is a solid value D-man at 4K. Braden Schneider, 3.3, still a solid guy. And then on the other side, on the Red Wing side, JT Compher, again, I'll bring him up anytime he's sub 4K, getting top power play time. That's a solid value option. But again, not going to go to the Red Wing side. I think the Rangers kind of punch him in the mouth here. Rangers, I think, outmatch this team up and down the ice. So I really like the Rangers in tournaments here. Jumping to the next game, from one team I have interest in to another here. I think this is a good spot here for the Islanders on the road in St. Louis. Bennington is looking to get the night off here tonight for St. Louis. I think that bodes well for the Islanders offense, who looked pretty good to start the year. Bo Horvat, Barzal, Duclair, great stack. Duclair is still way too cheap at 3,500. One of the best value plays on the entire slate. Top line, top power play. He's going to play 16 to 18 minutes. Absolutely love him. Islanders are deep. They play good hockey, and Sorokin's a very good goalie. And I think he makes a great play here tonight at sub 8K. I really like that 7,900, 7,800 range in terms of goalies. Obviously, you got Vasilevsky there. You got Sorokin, 2 of my favorite goalies on the entire slate. I think they're a great play. But in terms of tournaments, I think the Brock Nelson, Kyle Palmieri line makes, and Maxime here, the young rookie there for the Islanders. I think the line 2, New York Islanders line 2, I think is a very good spot here tonight. I think they go overlooked overall, and I love it. I love that stack overall, and I think they're in a great spot here tonight. So pretty good tournament spot, I think, for the Islanders for sure. Jumping to the next game here, man, Edmonton, what a team. They got the job done late in that game against Philly, but man, they have not been the team that everyone expected them to be. They will turn it around. They started terrible last year. They're going to turn it around. Obviously, you got some of the best offensive hockey players in all of the NHL in Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman. Bouchard's a great D-man. They're super expensive here. Nashville plays tough on home ice. I don't love the spot from a DFS perspective. If I were to go to a side for DFS, just due to the pricing, it would be on the Nashville side, in my opinion here. But again, not a spot at these prices in this matchup that I want to go to. I mean, Predators just play tough on home ice. I could see this being a 2-1 style hockey game here, even with the firepower. Edmonton, again, still doesn't look great. Still doesn't look right. So for me, it's only value guys in this spot. But again, I mean, Saros, I think, is fine on home ice, going to see a ton of volume. And Brady Shea at 3.5K from a D-man, I think is fine. Gustav Nyquist, I think is all right. Tommy Novak, some of these value Predators, I don't hate against a team like Edmonton that's given up a ton of goals. Skinner just doesn't look great right now, averaging over 4 goals against so far this year. So Predator side for me in terms of tournaments, but again, still not a game that I'm targeting too much from DFS. Jumping to the next game here. Expect this team to be pretty chalky from what you can see here on DK ownership for a good reason. The Sharks look like absolutely horrendous. Their great rookie prospect is now on IR. And same thing stays true that we targeted all last year is teams against the Sharks in terms of fantasy. I think nothing else changes here tonight. The only issue is I don't think the Blackhawks are a great team, but they are young. And I really like Chicago line 1 here. I think they're going to be popular. Just be worried how you play them. But I still think it's a great spot for Connor Bedard, Tuvo Teravainen, Nick Foligno. 3K, 4,300 and 7,400 against the Sharks, one of the worst defensive hockey teams all of last year. I think it's going to stay true this year. And Vanacek's going to be in that as well, which I like. So Chicago, super cheap, going to be popular. If you want to get different, jump into line 2 with Kurashev, Taylor Hall, who's great, and Bertuzzi, I think is a very, very interesting way to get off of the chalky Chicago line 1. Just jump into line 2, who's going to get just a great of matchup as well, being on home ice, being able to dictate those matchups there for Chicago, and seeing some of those depth guys from the Sharks should be nice. So I expect Chicago to win this game pretty easily. I expect them to score some points, and they're overall very cheap. So great spot in terms of tournaments. Goalies wise, I'm not spending up 8,400 for Mrazek. I'm not going to Vanacek. So for me, it's offense on the Blackhawks side. Really like the spot overall. No Sharks really for me. If you wanted to go to Toffoli, Eklund, and Granlund, you could, but I think there's much better spots than to go to the Sharks offense here for sure. That takes us into the last game of the slate. It's the Flyers. It's the Kraken here. I think this is a decent game. I could see this game getting up and down the ice. From a goalie standpoint, Grubauer is probably my favorite spend-up goalie at 8,200. But again, I still think you can play some Flyers against him in other teams with Morgan Frost, Konechny, Tippett, Michkov, who coming off the 2 goal there. Again, shout out to my guy Rio. Helped him ship that tournament, helped me place top 10 in the $15 with his 2 goals there. Konechny is one of the best two-way players in all of DFS. He's on the penalty kills. He's on the power plays. He goes crazy, and he's 6K. Going to play all the minutes he can handle. Top power play, 6K. Going to shoot the puck a ton, averaging right around 5 shots on goal per game. I think he's an elite option always. You can pair him with Jet Luchenko, very good young center at 2.7K. Doesn't break the bank, basically stone minimum. They threw Luchenko on that second power play now as well, and also Tyson Forster. So line 2, line 1, both super reasonably priced. Line 2 is very, very cheap with Konechny, Luchenko, and Forster, fully correlated as well. So I think the Flyers are interesting, but again, I think the Kraken win this game. I think the Kraken are a better hockey team. So for me, Matty B, not going to pronounce his last name because I'm miserable at pronunciations there. Jared McCann, Jordan Eberle. I think those are all great guys, great players. The only issue with Seattle is it's tough to target them for DFS purposes because, man, just like last season, it seems like everybody, the scoring is always spread out. I mean, you'll have a game where Jaden Schwartz will come in and score 2 goals, and Yanni Gourde to score a goal. Bjorkstrand will score a goal, and it'll just all be spread out, and it's not super correlated. So that's the only annoying thing. I prefer the Kraken more as 2-man or maybe 3-man stacks, but much more like 2-man stacks, fillers, or one-offs, just because scoring is so spread out than compared to other teams in the league. So they're much like Carolina was last year for me. Kraken just spread out the scoring. So even in a big game, it's just tough to really pinpoint where all the scoring is going to come from, and that's the only downfall I do have from a DFS perspective. But overall, I think it's a very good slate here on tap. Again, Chicago, I think, is in a great spot. I expect them to get a ton of ownership. The Rangers are my favorite overall stack of the night. I think the Kings, the Blackhawks, obviously round out there, the Devils, things like that. Some of the Nashville guys that are cheap at home ice, I think make some sense. But overall, that's going to do it for this quick hit. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate all the interactions. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Down in the comment section, drop any feedback you have. But one last time, shout out to my guy Rio Cheetah with that massive 100K win. And he's never played NHL DFS before in his life until he jumped in on Tuesday. went over the content. Him and I were talking a little bit in text messages, going back and forth and that, but threw 6 lineups in, shipped himself 100K, had a sweat in the $15 as well up there. But overall, man, incredible season so far it's been for the NHL product. And I got you covered all year long with the NHL product. If you want access to it, you're not a member yet. One last time, NBA 15 gets off any membership plan, 15% off, including our in-house Shiptimizer, which we have for all sports outside of NHL and college football, but those are coming in the near future and will be no additional rate. $85 a month if you go all access pass, get you locked in with an optimizer for all of the sports we offer, including all the education courses and everything else that goes with it. But again, good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. For myself, Nadesify, let's ship it.